From NASCAR's playground at Homestead, Miami, to a classic circuit that stands over 100 years strong, we're racing at Le Mans. GT3 is a relatively new concept for the roads of Le Mans, France, but they've gotten along rather well in recent years. We're here now for round 4 of NARL GT3 Season 7, and drivers have been challenged with the task of making it around here for 60 minutes. Welcome to Pit Stop TV in the virtual Le Mans, France. My name is Andrew Cardinale IV with Mason Houseman alongside, and it's a pleasure to join you for continuing coverage of the North American Racing League GT3 Season 7. Tonight's coverage from Le Mans is brought to you by Muradness, by JS Consulting, and by Screw Compressor Service Incorporated. And this week, Mason, it's a very special look at the track map. 33 corners in all. This is a hefty circuit. It is 8.46 miles in length. That's 13.62 kilometers. And then when you get done at a whole lap, or however many laps until the pit stop, the pit speed brings you all the way down to 37 miles per hour, 60 kilometers per hour, a very slow pit lane speed here. This is just a beast. There's so much to talk about when you talk about Le Mans.
No, yeah, this track is a weapon, it feels like. You have all these long and short corners, fast corners, really slow corners. But, you know, going around these corners, it doesn't feel that long. But it's when you get on those straights that it feels like you've been out there for hours on hours. But I can promise you, these drivers are ready for the task. And we are ready for the task to broadcast this for you guys tonight.
It's going to be a fun one for sure. You take a look at the track map. Some corners that are favorites of mine would certainly be Indianapolis and Arnage. I just have a lot of fun whenever I go racing here at Le Mans in those two corners in particular, even if they challenge me, because Arnage is pretty tricky, how slow speed it is and whatnot. Those are my favorite two corners. I don't know why. They're just a lot of fun. You come flying in from Mulsanne all the way down through 16, 17, and 18 into Indianapolis. And then that hard stop and turn right for Arnage, get back on the power. And honestly, even in the prototypes, you can get the rear end a little bit squirrely there on exit, and it's just so much fun. From the high speeds into Indianapolis to the low speeds in Arnage, just one extreme to the other on this circuit in that short amount of time. That's one set of corners I enjoy so much, and we'll see some action there this evening. Other hot spots certainly will be Tetra Rouge. I think we'll see a lot of slowdowns out of Tetra Rouge tonight. Slowdowns being, you know, a driver has gone too far off into the runoff and they have to slow down and give time back because they went too far off of the racetrack. So we may see some slowdowns there. We may see some slowdowns out of both Mulsanne chicanes, the Daytona chicane and the I believe the first chicane is the Daytona chicane. I believe the second chicane is just the other Mulsanne chicane. Regardless, those are some hot spots. Mulsanne corner should be a lot of fun. Big passing opportunity there. We're going to see passing all over this racetrack. This is one of the few tracks we go to where there's several passing opportunities. From turn 1, well, I'd say turn 2 at Dunlop. From Dunlop all the way around to Tetra Rouge. Maybe you can't pass in the S's, but then you can certainly pass in each of the Mulsanne chicanes, Mulsanne corner, Indianapolis, possibly Arnage, and possibly again at the Ford chicanes. Mason, there's so many places to pass here.
I think we're really taking away the Porsche curves. I mean, it's a very technical and tight spot, but as you go through 24 and 25, if you were in the driver's seat, you will notice a blue wall. That blue wall seems like it goes out a lot farther than what it is, but I can promise you, we will see some drivers hit the right sides on that wall. But I think the best passing points will be tonight will for sure be... I definitely think Indianapolis is a strong suit for a lot of people. But I think Mulsanne is for sure one of the best passing points around here. But, I mean, we're always going to have to say the best passing points is straightaway. That draft is key around here, and if you can stay in it, you can definitely make passes.
Let's also take a look at this evening's point standings coming into this evening with about a minute or so left in practice. Also want to stress that one of the race winners on this graphic, Yannick Steinhoff, is currently leading in practice with that minute or so to go. Thorsten Ulrich's teammate is second. But as far as points go, Yannick has got a lot of work to do. Thorsten's got a lot of work to do. And they are going to be working hard this evening. I think this is a race they can capitalize on. I think this is a place they have a lot more experience at potentially. It is a European circuit. I think this falls into their wheelhouse, and they're already up on top of the practice sheet. Michael Brooks is third in practice. He's the only pro driver, or Division I driver in this case, not on this graphic. He's 25th in the standings. That far back, he's got one start that came back at VIR. He's been out of the sim since, so we'll see what he can do. He's third in practice. Ken Copeland, though, our top race winner of the season so far, he is third in the standings. He is fourth in practice. Eduardo Pecorini, fifth in practice. He's all the way down to 24th in the points. This race is going to shake things up, and not just because, well, we've got drivers all over the place as far as the timing charts and the actual points sheet, but also, Mason, look at how close they are. First, second, third, fourth, fifth, all within 3 points of one another. That's going to shake up a lot, especially with Scott Reister not here tonight.
No, yeah, and sad that Scott Reister couldn't be here tonight, but these points are going to be very valuable tonight. You're going to see a lot of people make a little bit of mistakes, and any mistake around this track is going to cause you to lose so much time, especially if it's coming out of a corner that goes onto a straightaway. You're just going to be having no momentum, and it's going to make you lose a lot of positions. So points are going to be key tonight, but you need to be on point first in order to get those points.
Yannick Steinhoff has officially won practice. Let's roll into our Division 2 points, and this is where things get a little more spread out. Nathan Medina now with a race win under his belt, 15 ahead of Lucas Finko, 21 up on Kevin Peak and Dominic Turcotte, 35 up on Ismail Elahi and Jose Doleo. This is a spread out Division 2 field right now, but I think things are going to change after this week. I think we're going to see Elahi move up the order spectacularly. He might even get promoted soon, and I think Nathan Medina is in line to get promoted at some point this season. It might be after this week, it might be after next week, I'm not sure, but I think he's in line to get promoted. He is just excelling beyond what we expect for Division 2. He was quick again in practice, so keeping that in mind as we go on this evening in Division 2 and, well, in the field overall. Qualifying is coming up. That means we can take a look quickly at the race schedule. This race here, Mason, Le Mans, round 4, kind of the midpoint of the season. Detroit in a couple of weeks. We have a week off before then. A little bit of time to prepare for these guys. Going to be interested to see how that works.
No, I love Le Mans. It's a very stressful track, especially in these GT3 cars, because, I mean, you're set in almost 4-minute lap time, so it feels like you're out there forever. But when you finish this race, you feel so rewarded for yourself that you've made it through the entire race. But I definitely think Detroit is going to be a key player for the next in 2 weeks, because that track is very tight and very deadly.
Well, into the iRacing sim we go. Let's take a look around the field, and let's go on board with Yannick Steinhoff as these guys go around for their very long warm-up lap here in qualifying. This is a 15-minute session as opposed to 10 minutes for the other qualifying sessions this season. And Mason, we're going to start off on the backstretch, the Mulsanne straightaway here, and let you take around. I would say we take us around for some of the corners. I was about to. When we get to the Mulsanne corner, I'll let you take us around for some corners because it's going to be a long time before we get there.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a lot of filling here on the straightaway. There isn't much action when you're going in a straight line on your own. When you throw in the rest of the field, Mason, it's going to get a lot more complicated then.
It's going to be super stressful, especially coming down here in the 12 and 13. Super hard braking. You have to keep your left tires over that rumble strip as you saw Yannick go. And you have to use up all the track. I was telling Andrew here earlier, Yannick has done really good. You have to use up all this track in this GT3 car. Momentum is key. You don't have all of that electronic boost to get the car going again. So you have to be careful about where you're at, but you have to use all the momentum. And then you get on a Mulsanne, you have 14 and 15. I'm a little early right now. I feel like I'm so used to the GTP cars around here, but we have Mulsanne, which is 14 and 15. A track that you're going to see a lot of drivers, I feel like, go into that sand trap. Super hard braking. You know, once again, you have to use up all of the track there. And you have another long straightaway here, which goes into Indianapolis, but we got a little bit of time to talk about here while we're going into 16.
Yeah, another big power zone for these guys, back on throttle, kind of the secondary backstretch, if you will, before we get down to Indianapolis Arnage and the Porsche curves. This is another opportunity for a lot of track battles here into Indianapolis.
Yeah, and going into Indianapolis here, another hard braking zone. That left-hander over here in the 19, really surprises a lot of people. I feel like a lot of people don't expect it, and they go off. And another point here is kind of a blinder corner, and I'm not saying that because it's a tough.
Oh, he must have gotten off track.
Oh no. Oh, he did. Well, I gotta restart then. I gotta start in the first corner now.
Well, he resets to be closer into the Ford chicanes, and he's going to take it now from the Ford chicanes around for the beginning of the laps. We'll ride on board of them here through the Ford chicanes and around to Dunlop.
I get to run a lap with him, so that's promising. Thank you, honey. You must be listening to us. So, as we go into one here, it's a very fast right-hander. You want to be, but you want to get on the brakes as soon as you can. Going into 2 here, it's a very technical track. You can go wide here, and then going out of 3, use up all the track here as you see Yannick doing, and then watch out for this downhill left-hander, and then the right-hander. Once they get the car a little bit agitated, these GT3s are a little difficult here around this track, and then going into 5, and then into 6, yes. Sorry, a lot of corners here, and then out of 8. There we go. And you have a long straightaway here that you have to be able to get as much momentum down as you see Nick using up all the track there. As we see David Schwartz showing the fastest times overall right now in qualifying.
That's more or less a lap around. He's back onto the back stretch, so we'll move around and look at some other cars. Here, David Schwartz, fastest so far in qualifying. Eduardo Pecorini, second quick, and this is matching kind of what we saw from these guys in practice. Eduardo was quick in that Acura. David Schwartz was even relatively high up the standings in practice. What's a little bit different here is Bruce De Carvalho. He's much higher up the standings so far in qualifying than he was in practice, and that's promising for the points leader. He gained the points lead after Miami last week, simply through his consistency so far this season. So if he's able to continue that and just stay consistent, stay in the field, and stay towards the front, we might have a championship on our way.
No, yeah, consistency is key on these cars. You know, you want to be able to have as much points on the table as you can. You may not have all of the wins, but consistency is key. I mean, Bruce De Carvalho does not have a single win this season, but he's been so consistent this season that he's been able to grab a bunch of points from these drivers when they have bad nights. And a driver who needs to have a good night after VIR is Ignacio. I mean, I still feel bad about the freeze lock on his computer.
And the screen freeze that he had back at VIR was one that was felt around the league for sure. It took away what was an early dominant win potentially for the SART MC driver. Thought he was going to have a win in the bag, and unfortunately that screen freeze took him out of it and gave the win away to Ken Copeland, who has done a decent job so far in backing up that win. He's done solid in the points. He is, I believe, third in the standings coming into this evening. We'll see where he leaves this place, though. And I got to shout out Nathan Medina while we're talking about different drivers around the league doing well. Nathan Medina, about as well as you could ask for a Division II driver. We talked about it briefly in the Division II points. He's on his way, I think, to being promoted. He is just doing absolutely stellar in that role, and I'm excited to see where he ends up going this season, if he stays in Division 2 or if he gets promoted to Division 1. Either way, I think we've got a really solid driver on our hands. I don't know if he's going to contend this season for overall wins, but this is the story that we've seen around the league several times in the past, Mason. I know you're brand new to these guys still, relatively, at least relative compared to me. I've done every NARL race, but aside from maybe 1 or 2, but we've seen this story before where a driver goes through Division 2, gets promoted, and they end up losing that championship because of it, but they flourish into a brand new Division 1 driver. It happened to Thomas Rayleigh even. He just won this past week at Miami. He was a Division 2 driver that was getting wins down there and got promoted when he didn't want to be necessarily, and became that D1 driver and has since won races in Division 1. So I think Nathan Medina is well on his way to becoming one of those drivers that goes from the bottom to the top very quickly. It's just going to take him a little bit of time.
No, I like this story. I like seeing Nathan Medina go even faster than what a lot of people probably projected Division 2 drivers. But we also have Ismail Alahi, who's also been very flourishing here in this series. But going back to Nathan Medina, you know, you're thinking about overall wins and then an overall championship for Division 2. But you have to think about it. These guys want to be at that top level. They want to be competing for wins at that top level. And I think the best way to go and compete for those wins at the top level is to be in the same, not constructors, in the same division as the top level. So that's exactly where they want to go, as Thorsten Ulrich now sets the fastest time by almost a second over Michael Brooks.
Yeah, a bunch of times came in rather quickly. Ulrich, the first down to the 354s. He gets down there ahead of Michael Brooks, who's second. David Schwartz now third. Eduardo Pecorini fourth. And Ken Copeland in fifth. This McLaren seems to be well suited for Le Mans. In this conversation of car choice comes up every week because the cars are so different. This is a top speed racetrack. Some of these cars have the short gear stack for this particular fixed setup, and that has resulted in some cars somewhat being nerfed this week, including the Acura. We're going to see the oddball car choices, I think, rise this week and really take this league over. The McLaren isn't necessarily an oddball choice, but you see it there for Ulrich and now Brooks. Mercedes here in third place for David Schwartz. We've seen some Mercs up there this season. The top Acura, though, I'm impressed. Eduardo Pecorini, he must be flying through the corners because he just does not have the same straightaway speed as other guys do.
I've been watching his cockpit view this entire time, and I can totally agree with you that he is flying through these cars. You know, it looks smooth, but I can tell you right now, from a driver's perspective, that in the cockpit right now, it does not feel smooth. You're going to see him going into, I'm pretty sure it's going to be 12 and 13 here. It's going to look smooth. I mean, maybe it's going to change my mind here, but it's going to look smooth. But I can tell you now, into the cockpit view, he is flying through those corners, and that's what you got to do, especially when your car doesn't have that top gear speed. You have to use that acceleration that the car has in order to get that gap compared to the other drivers who maybe have the faster gear of the car. But you have to understand that you will start to get reeled in real quick as the end of the straightaway, but you have to use the corners to your advantage.
Let's see what Pecorini can do. He's down there in the points, I think, just trying to go out there and have a good run this evening for his own kind of morale's sake. And is flying through the corners so far in qualifying. Again, fourth quick as they stand. This has bumped Ismail Elahi down to 12th overall as your top Division 1 driver, but he is your top Division 1 driver by a couple of spots. He's up there about 4 spots ahead of Nathan Medina in qualifying right now, even though Medina sits second in class. And that's even more spots ahead of Jose DeLeo, who sits third in class. So Division 2, they've been bumped down a little bit by the Division 1 drivers, but they are still excelling. Elahi 12th overall, Medina 16th overall. While it doesn't sound like it's earth-shattering or anything, that is still rather solid as Division 2 drivers.
It's completely solid, and you know, we've been talking about it every week. They're not based on a positional standing for their divisions. Every position in the overall position is a point compared to your other driver. So you want to be able to have those gaps, and you want to be able to gain as many points as your competition in your respective division in order to compete in the championship and beat them eventually. As Nathan Medina has been trying to, but Ismail Elahi has been flying in that Porsche.
Porsches at the top of Division 2. Medina in a Porsche, Elahi in a Porsche. Also worth mentioning, by the way, at the top of the grid, Yannick Steinhoff goes right behind Thorsten Ulrich. I'm mixing names now. Yannick Steinhoff, second quick. Thorsten Ulrich now first quick still at that 3:54.64. Had to get my numbers straight. As Medina comes into the final couple of corners and will come around to complete his final lap of qualifying. Third lap here, and it's going to be a solid one. Medina moves up a bunch. That moves him into 11th as Thorsten Ulrich at the exact same time goes even faster. Ulrich now has pole by a solid second over his teammate.
That's an insane time around this track. And you know, it's deserved, especially after last week for having the packet loss and losing as where he was at first place. This is where you need to have, and you need to come back and show that you should have won that race. But now you have to show it in a respective way, especially around Le Mans. It's a race that you always want to win in these cars.
Somebody looking for a win would be Miguel Colon. We posted a highlight on our social media earlier today. And I mean just a couple of hours ago. It was the highlight which was really a low light for Miguel Colon, but it was a highlight for us when Miguel Colon made the pass on Thorsten Ulrich last week at Miami and promptly got turned around. Now, you can feel how you want to feel about it. It was the highlight of the race. It made waves through the league, and there was some controversy behind it. Miguel Colon not too happy at all. Thorsten Ulrich, certainly I don't think happy that he kind of got called out, but that is racing. Mason, looking back on it a week later, Miguel just needs a good night. He doesn't need to think about that, doesn't need to think about it too much anyways. Just needs to go out there and have a good night and try to put all this behind him.
Totally. He just needs to get those points back, especially after he lost a couple, because did he finish the race at Miami?
I believe he finished the race, but it wasn't very well.
Yeah, but you always have to remember that drivers have a very, very long memory. So if him and Thorsten get near each other, he might not be too scared to give him the door around a corner. So that's one thing to look out for tonight if he can get to him.
Well, he'll qualify 12th, it looks like, on the speed charts, right behind Nathan Medina, who went 11th overall. Ismail Elahi now down to 15th position overall, and in the second place in Division 2. One car is left qualifying with 20 seconds to go or so. That's Timothy Patterson down in the 42nd spot, and he will not make it back around. He is the only car left on the racetrack at this point in time. So that will do it for qualifying. Timothy Patterson won't make it back around, and the field will be set for round 4 of the North American Racing League. One more brief look at where we stand in the schedule. Next up, Detroit. It's in 2 weeks. Then Monza combined, Atlanta, and Daytona. Some big-time speedways at Monza and Daytona. Road Atlanta should be a lot of fun as well. And then the street course of Detroit next up on the calendar. With that in mind, it's time to head down to the starting grid, brought to you by Lucky Performance. On pole this evening, and on the front row as a whole, Thorsten Ulrich and Yannick Steinhoff Ride Sim Sport locking down the front row. They have been electric since joining this series, and they've been a lot of fun to watch. Starting third, you'll find none other than Michael Brooks. Last place in points, trying to move up the order, trying to get a good finish under his belt here this evening in car 83. David Schwartz will start from fourth. Starting fifth, it's Eduardo Pecorini, another driver just looking for a good finish. He's 24th in the standings of 25 drivers. And then Sam Soyd out of the UK will start from 6th. Starting 7th, it's Ked Copeland. Thomas Rayleigh last week went from 8th. Starting 9th and 10th, teammate to Thomas Rayleigh and points leader Bruce De Carvalho at 9th. And Ignacio Castagnine in 10th.
And starting just outside of your top 10, you had Nathan Medina, your overall Division 2 leader as of right now, trying to get that gap to Lucas Finko even bigger than what he is. And then you have in 12th Miguel Colon, 13th Adam Brockway, 14th Ricardo Delgado, in 15th Ismail Elahi. Going to try his best to get up to Nathan Medina, and I know he's got the speed to do it. Starting in 16th, you have Lucas Souza, 17th Bobby Flack. In 18th, you have Andy Ray Miller, 19th, Jose DeLeo, and in 20th, you have Dominic Turcotte.
Starting 21st, you'll find Edgar Ruiz in the 80 car, alongside Chris Winstone, a Division 1 driver in Ruiz, a Division 2 driver in Winstone. Nicholas Salapudis will start from 23rd. It'll be 24th spot for Dean Kerr. Starting from 25th, it's Alex DeMarco. From 26th, you'll find Scott Angelo. Boy, does he need a bump of the points. He's been a mainstay in this series, but is down the order in the standings. Austin Tiller starts from 27th. Mark Reynolds from 28th. A very suboptimal qualifying effort from Mark Reynolds. He will start well down the order as a Division 1 driver. Starting 29th, it's Mitch Buenaventura. Starting from 30th, Kevin Peake.
Yeah, and starting 31st, you have Craig Bray. 32nd, you have Joshua Benjamin. And then in 33rd, you have Lucas Finko. That is not the qualifying he probably wanted tonight, sitting second in Division 2, but he's got the speed in order to get back up there. 34th, you have Mike Braun. 35th, you have Billy Bowerman. 36th, Jay Fuller. In 37th, Jeff Fleischman. In 38th, you have Victor Alponte. In 39th, Philip Adurka. And in 40th, you have Sean Patterson.
Starting 41st, Chow Trin down the order a bit, but doing some pretty solid work in the standings. 8th coming into this race. Timothy Patterson will start from 42nd. Starting 43rd, Bob Guadagnoli there in the 46 car. And that will, it looks like, do it. No, a couple more cars here. Jake Browder and Christian Gritzko making a 45-car field plus 1 NARL steward. Going to be a lot of fun. Looking forward to this one. Want to take a look at the Whiplash SimCam's race details. This is a 60-minute practice followed by a 15-minute qualifying session. Those have already eclipsed. 60-minute sprint race now coming up next with a fixed setup, 55% fuel load, 15 incident limit, then every 5 incidents thereafter. And no, that was not adjusted for this evening's race. That will stay the same as far as I know. 15 incidents, then every 5 thereafter. There you see the flyover starting just beyond the Porsche curve and Ford chicanes. This is going to be a very, very special race. I'm looking forward to it.
I'm super excited for this race. This is the one race I've been looking forward to all season long, except Daytona. I'm really excited for that race too. But I know this race is going to be showing out, and I'm super excited to broadcast it.
Thanks for joining us here at Pit Stop TV. There's the field headed our way. Mason Houseman alongside me. My name, Andrew Cardinelli IV, if I can get it out right. We are going to kick things off here at Le Mans. We are racing out of the final corner, and green flag officially drops in France. First side-by-side fight into Dunlop is back here around the 10th spot. One car to the left side, that's Ignacio Castagnin. He will move to the inside of Nathan Medina. Medina gets the better spot, and Medina has the position. Now contact with Adam Brockway.
Yeah, Medina almost got around there, but that would have been really bad for him in the points, especially DeLeo is now making a move here on Bobby Flack, going through 3 and 4, gets the inside there, gets around him, and whoa! Dominic Turcotte took up all of that space there. Oh my gosh. Whew. Bobby Flack is rolling down this order right now.
Out front, it's Thorsten Ulrich, followed by Yannick Steinhoff. A couple of cars with problems. There's a crash in the back of the Tetra Rouge. Scott Angelo, Kevin Peake, Mark Reynolds, and more.
Oh, that car's done.
That's Scott Angelo there. Adam Brockway just comes through the corner. He's got no rear wing. We've got things to review once this lap wraps up. There's the first Mulsanne chicane. Everybody getting through nice and orderly. Coming down to the second Mulsanne chicane, and everybody's in a single file line. Some chaos here at the start at Le Mans. We do have a bit of a fight back here, side by side, deep in the field. This is down, well, here's Craig Bray and Mitch Buenaventura, followed by Victor Aponte. Lucas Finko's in this fight as well. Let's take this. Let's follow Lucas Finko here to the second chicane.
Side by side as they go into there. That's a scary move there for especially the first lap, but they get through it very nice and calm. That's what you want to do. You got to understand this is a long race. So I like these moves that these guys are doing right now, taking their time. I mean, I know going out of 8, that did not entail what I just said, but as we see a lot of these guys taking all the way to the gravel trap there. Whoa!
Everybody getting every bit of the racetrack they can, every inch they can, every millimeter, if you will. 2 Ride SimSport McLarens out front, followed by the Wrong Stuff McLaren of Michael Brooks, who sits in third. That's your top 3, all McLarens. David Schwartz, the first non-McLaren, and Eduardo Pecorini is under fire here. There's a pass made almost by Ken Copeland, not just yet into Indianapolis.
Yeah, big send there. That's one of the parts of the track that I thought there was going to be a lot of movement there, but gets through there really nice and smooth. Very well defended there by Eduardo Pecorini. But Ken Copeland is going to try and make himself known. He's going to try to make it so that he can get himself back up, sitting third in the standings right now. He's going to be one in a good position tonight.
Following our leaders as they work up to the Porsche curves for the first time, this should be a whole bunch of fun. I'm looking forward to the Porsche curves. I always do. Here we go. This is a tight bit of racetrack. The safer barrier on the right side. And here they come through the back end of the Porsche curves. Everybody making it through so far, but we're only a few cars deep, and looks like these guys have got the racing line down this week.
Beautiful shot there, Andrew. I know you did so much work getting those cameras set up. How many cameras did you set up this week?
So the iRacing limit is 512, and we hit it.
Jeez. A lot of cameras here, but we're going to try to get the best shots for tonight, and that was a beautiful shot. And we're going to be seeing a couple of these guys coming and taking black flags. Mark D. Reynolds, Ignacio Casnin, and Billy Bowerman all got a drive-through penalty here from the stewards here tonight, already on the first lap.
Fun shot there, the Ferris wheel in shot. We'll let the field cycle through and then go back and catch what happened on lap number 1 through Tetra Rouge. And really, we're just going to go back to the start of the race. There's the field cycling through, and we're just going to fall back here and catch the start over again.
I wonder if it was just a really... I wonder if it's just a really over-aggressive move going into 8 there. I feel like maybe someone's rear end was tagged and it just sent him around. But this was a very... It kind of felt like the Le Mans 24-hour going into turn 1.
Here's a moment for Adam Brockway, and I'm not sure how he ends up getting hit, but he does end up going for a spin here on exit of Dunlop. Ignacio Castagnine came over, and that's going to be what his black flag is for. He came over on corner exit and just hip-checked Brockway in the 42 car.
I think Brockway got lucky there on the... He could have hit that concrete there, and it would have been over for that right or left front. So he got lucky there.
Tetra Rouge here, this is the big incident that we saw. A few Radness drivers stacked up, and one made big contact. That was Scott Angelo going deep and wiping out several race cars.
That's a tough corner. It's kind of, it feels like a blind corner going through there, but that's a lot of cars, especially for the first lap.
On board with Scott Angelo, and we'll see what happened here. He was following his Radness teammate of Alex DeMarco. And it's just going to end up deep here in the Tetra Rouge. Just wipes out DeMarco, even gets into Dean Kerr, and several others come piling in. Big hits there.
Yeah, just to check if that wasn't seen. You know, you're going so fast through that corner that it's super hard to get everybody in line there. As we are now, the top 3 are so close to each other, but we're going to get another look at this battle right here.
Yeah, one more replay, then we'll come back to live footage. We're going to follow Mark Reynolds through this from KJ Racing. And he gets hit from behind after piling into all of that. I mean, you can see there's just nowhere to go. Joshua Benjamin takes a hit. Really bad spot for a crash.
Yeah, that's a lot of damage for those cars. A lot of cars that are done tonight.
And here we go, back up to the race leaders, tracking out of Indianapolis. We've got 3 cars under a blanket, followed by 3 cars under a blanket, followed by 4 cars under a blanket. That makes up your top 10.
Yeah, and I've been watching. Michael Brooks has been putting the pressure to Yannick Steinhoff. He's been only getting so close here and getting ready to go into, if I'm not mistaken, this should be the Porsche curves. Am I correct? Getting on the Porsche curves here. I think he's going to stay behind him. He's going to let his pressure be known. Wait for Yannick to make any mistakes, but he makes them so smooth here this season. For his first, well, this is his 3rd race over the season. He's been making his pressure known.
So far, 3 McLarens leading. Want to also touch on weather conditions coming into this race. 67.4 degrees in the air, 71 on track, and maybe coming to grips with the track conditions here is Michael Brooks. He just got completely out of order there. And you're going to see a change at the race lead. Thorsten Ulrich gives the spot up to Yannick Steinhoff. What are they doing here, Mason? Well, they are switching around. I thought... Oh, now I don't know. I thought it was going to be so Thorsten could save some fuel, but then Yannick got back behind him before the flag.
I was going to say what I thought was going to happen, but now I don't know what happened there. So that was a little interesting. But that brought 4th, 5th, and 6th, all of 2 of them now. So now there's 6 cars under a blanket.
6 cars in a row. All working around the beginning portion of the lap here at Le Mans. Lap 3 now. We're expecting 16 in this race. And it's a switch of position again between these 2 teammates. This is going to throw Michael Brooks out onto the exit. He is not pleased at all, and I wouldn't be either. I don't know what these two are doing, but that almost was an incident.
Confused by the defense strategy here, but I mean, it's working. I mean, it's getting a faster driver that is really super fast right now out to the back, but a lot of bump drafting. I am super. Ooh! As Michael Brooks and Ken Colpin almost tag each other and take him around, that was very close to being another incident going into 11. This is bringing the entire field even closer to them now, as Thomas Rayleigh and Bruce Carvalho, the two teammates, are trying to work together to get themselves back up to these top 6 up here. And they're going to be bump drafting. I love to see these GT3 cars. I like to see these GT3 cars going in bump drafting down these tracks. I don't know about you, Andrew, but it's just something. It's just something that I feel like you just don't see much in road racing.
It's a lot of fun to watch. You don't see it much unless you drop down to slower speed vehicles like the Mazda MX-5 or other cars like that, production cars, especially when they have the bigger, broader bumpers. You can't do it in open wheel stuff, but you can do it here in GT3 machinery if you do it just right. There was some talk of doing it last week at Miami. I'm glad they refrained from doing so for the most part, but we are seeing some bump drafting here on the straightaways at Le Mans. You don't have the corner of Miami, the banked corner here, so I think these guys can do it on a flat surface like that, a flat road. It's a little easier to do there, but be careful if you do it around a banked corner like at Monza here in a couple weeks.
I just get super nervous trying to see these cars. I feel like they're just too uneven when going on this track, but wow. That was a perfect camera shot just to show you how close these guys are to each other. They are basically inside of each other.
Indianapolis and Arnage here. The top 10 are under a blanket. Samsoid has fallen back a little bit to make it top 9 actually under a blanket, as Samsoid's kind of in between groups here. He rides 9th in class in Division 1, but 10th overall, with Lucas Souza and Miguel Colon shortly behind. Jose De Leo gets out of line, passing Ricardo Delgado. De Leo's been a lot of fun to watch this season in that Mustang, one of the top Mustangs of the field overall. The only other Mustang that's been better has been Adam Brockway, and he's down the order for a second week in a row after a mistake. Not even a mistake, it was just an incident there on lap 1. But back to De Leo being top Mustang right now. This is what we saw at Miami from him. A very quiet day, a lot of points gained. I think we might see it again here today. And off the racetrack goes Ismail Elahi.
That is a position gain there for Division 2 driver. That's points on the board right now. I mean, every passing point. Ismail Elahi is struggling right now with that car. I think it's passed again.
Ricardo Delgado goes through in the Corvette. That's good for position 14. And now Delgado goes off in the Ford chicanes. That's going to be a problem, and a pass made back, I believe, as Nathan Medina goes fastest outright, drafting up to Thomas Rayleigh. A Division 2 driver has just gone fastest on the racetrack.
That is something you don't hear of very often, but I've been watching these Porsches go around. Nathan Medina, Thomas Rayleigh, and Bruce Carvalho, they've been working together pretty well. I mean, obviously they want to get all the positions they can, but I mean, going through to El Rouge, you're going to see these 3 drivers actually, all working together, trying to get themselves up, because believe it or not, this is a track where you want to work together with people, especially these GT3 cars, slingshot engaged. You want to be able to get as much momentum down these corners or straightaways to make it so you can propel yourself faster and make it so you catch up to these leads right now. As we're seeing a big pass here. Hope maybe.
Pecorini around the outside of Michael Brooks, pass made. Here comes Nathan Medina on the inside of Thomas Rayleigh. I don't think they're working together back here, and I think this is something Medina needs to learn. At this point in the race, all you're going to do by doing that is pull yourself back. If you ride in a train and tow, you can make better speed that way. If he pushes Rayleigh, as opposed to trying to draft him here, they can go faster as a joint collective. This is only slowing both cars down.
Yeah, especially going to the Michelin chicane up here. You want to, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. He's maybe learning this stuff. You got to understand that you want to be able to get up to these leaders. I understand you feel like you're faster, but if you don't work with each other on these straightaways, you're going to lose a substantial amount of time. Even if you're faster through the corners, they will just freight line you down these straightaways.
A couple of battles deep in the field. Victor Aponte getting around Dean Kerr. Each driver with a little bit of damage there. Craig Bray right in behind Lucas Finko here as well. And Finko's one we've got to talk about. A surprise to me at second in Division II standings. He's down the order today, all the way in 28th position overall. So that's what he would score for points, but 13th in class. So it doesn't sound as bad when you put it that way, but when you hear 28th overall on the racetrack, that is something he wants to change. He's working on it, trying to go around Craig Bray there in the Mulsanne corner, but no opportunity to do so yet. He's behind a long train of cars. There's opportunity spread out in front of him. He's just got to go up there and attack.
No, yeah, and all he has to do is just be super smooth while doing it as well. This Acura seems like it's having a couple of struggles here today. I mean, Eduardo Pecorini is your first Acura up there, but he is in a pack with a lot of people that are pushing him, helping him, getting him around. This Acura seems like it doesn't have that straight line speed. So that's something you really need to have around here, but it's very smooth. There's a lot of dust up there. The car went off track there for sure. We saw the little sand pit trap tire marks, but we're seeing a move here, going here into Porsche curves.
And this is a move already made by David Schwartz to go by Thorsten Ulrich for second place. Schwartz is having none of the games out front. Wants to split these two teammates up, and now Ulrich has a run back on him. Can't do anything there. He's got to ride in behind until maybe an opportunity opens up for the Porsche games. We'll see. Answer is no, not yet.
I think we're seeing a lot of cars that we expected to be faster here. The Mercedes we always expect to be faster on the straight line. This McLaren though is what I'm really surprised about. I feel like the McLaren doesn't always get as much recognition as it wants to. We're seeing a car go super slow there. Must have got to slow down.
Yeah, that's Ken Copeland out to the right side of the racetrack, falling back in behind his wrong stuff teammate of Michael Brooks. And again, it goes back to the gear stack. The Acura has got the short gear stack enabled for this fixed setup these guys are on. But I believe that the McLaren has got a taller gear stack. So if these guys were to go open setups, I think it would probably benefit in a race like this. And I think it's something to learn as a league. Maybe when you come back around to Le Mans, either change over to the Le Mans fixed set or go to open setups. And it's just, you don't know until you do, right? You don't know what you don't know. You don't know what's going to happen until you do it. I think it's something to learn for sure for the future. I don't know that Le Mans will be back on the schedule necessarily anytime soon. I think this is an oddity to see it on the schedule, but it's a welcomed oddity, and I'm having a lot of fun so far, so I hope it is back on the schedule soon.
No, yeah, I'm super excited to see here as we're seeing Michael Brooks make it past the PlayStation chicane, going out off the corner, going down the straightaway, trying to get back up to these top three, as these top three have started to make a pretty decent gap on 4th, 5th, and 6th.
Side by side, Pecorini and Copeland. You see the field strung out behind them. And a bit of shade now. Partly cloudy skies as we work into the evening here in Le Mans, France. At least virtual Le Mans, France. Copeland goes back by Pecorini. And Samsoid has dropped down the order all the way to 12th position. Souza and Cologne have gone by that Ferrari. He's one of the only Ferraris in the field. And he is dropping like a rock on these straightaways. Now, the Ferrari has been really good on straights in the past. That's also an open setup racing. I don't know with this fixed setup how the gear stack actually stacks up against the others. What I do know is he's heading backwards in a hurry.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of these people being passed on the straightaways here, but I feel like he just might be trying to be a little bit conservative here. He understands that, I mean, you're only, 20 minutes into the race as Jose Vallejo gets a little loose there, comes out, gets touched the stand trap there, but I think he has that short stack gear setting. I feel like it's just a struggle right now. I mean, you're knocking yourself in the head. You're like, oh my God, why can't I get this car any faster? But you just got to understand that each track's going to have its limitations with the cars. We see a pass for the lead there. David Schwartz gets around Yannick Steinhoff there. That's a big move there for David Schwartz.
Big move for sure, and one we've got to take a look back at. We'll see how it happened, how it transpired here into Indianapolis. Schwartz with the offensive here. And if we can get out from behind the trees, come on, drones, here we go. Okay, so what it looks like is Yannick simply pulled over. We'll get one more replay to confirm that, but that's what it looks like.
Trying to play the tire? Or
Yeah, he just pulled over.
Oh, yeah. We were talking about this earlier, Andrew. I'm wondering if these guys are playing the fuel saving strategy. We were talking about how important it is to have a shorter pit stop time, because tires are what take the longest for, I feel like, a lot of the, or no, fuel is what takes the longest in these cars. The tires are relatively short for this class. So I think maybe we're going to see a lot of these guys trying to save that fuel, and a lot of the guys that we think may be going slower are trying to save that fuel so that they can have a shorter pit stop time and gain all that time back on the leaders.
Thing is, it's not just, you know, a couple of miles you're trying to make up like at most racetracks. This is 8 miles you're talking about. You've got to save. That's a long time. Enough fuel to go 8 miles at race pace is a lot of fuel. So I don't know that we see much saving unless these guys are a quarter lap or so, a quarter lap or less, you know, away from making it to a certain number. I think maybe then you do some saving. If you're nowhere near it, I think you run wide open and just make the best of it. I don't know that you're going to make up a full lap of fuel.
I totally agree with you, but I don't hate the try. I mean, they're just trying it. Maybe it'll work out, because I was watching and he let Thorson go all the way by him. So I didn't know if that was the plan, quote unquote plan there, but I like it. It's something new. Try it. See if it works out. If it doesn't, try out. You have the speed. Go and get that lead back.
Back into the race leaders here into the first chicane. Schwartz leading. Thorsten Ulrich and Yannick Steinhoff sitting second, third. And, you know, I will say, thinking about it a little more, of course, these guys will want to save regardless. Going back to pit stops, that's exactly why. You're going to want to save and not be in the pit lane for however much time, as much as you can. So we will see saving. I think that's what these two Ride Sim Sport drivers are doing now that they've had Schwartz past them. They're going to sit back and save fuel as possible. But
yeah, and this,
I don't know. This has been a very confusing strategy in letting each other by multiple times in the same lap and separated sometimes by only a few corners. That was confusing. And then the swap out of Tetra Rouge, or into Tetra Rouge it was, that was scary.
Very. I was very confused by it, but I don't really have words for it. It was kind of, I think, a little reckless, but I mean, everybody has a strategy, but you know, this saving strategy they have right now is just allowing Michael Brooks and company to bring themselves back up, which is something they probably don't want to see. Maybe when they see these drivers start getting closer to them, they kick it back into high gear and they understand, okay, we got to maintain this lead and we're going to try to get ourselves back up there. Maybe that's what they're trying to do here, but I am a little confused by the strategy, like how you are.
You see the field come into Indianapolis. Arnage next up. We work lap 6 of the expected 16. So already a solid portion of this race complete as we get up to about 6 cars under a blanket once again, leading this race. That's Schwartz, Ulrich, Steinhoff, Brooks, Copeland, and Peccolini in the top 6. Nathan Medina is up to 7th overall. He is on a hard charge, and I wonder, with this kind of hard charge from him, I doubt he's saving fuel. So I wonder if he ends up on a 2-stop strategy. That's something that some drivers were talking about earlier. This potentially being a 2-stop race when every other race has been 1-stop. And of course, if we break that term down, for those of you who are maybe uninitiated and don't know just yet, 1-stop is simply 1 pit stop throughout the duration of the race. 2-stop is just that, 2 stops during the duration of the race. So You want to make it a one-stop race if you can, but we're seeing several pit stops now. David Schwartz and company all coming to the pit lane. This is early. This is confirming these guys to be what looks like in a two-stop strategy. They'll have to pit again.
That was perfect timing on you right there. Talking about the two-stop strategy. This is going to pay perfectly in what you were saying. I mean, this shows that they weren't really saving. So my idea was completely gone. So I was still a little, I mean, I guess Yannick Steinhoff and Thorsten Ulrich have stayed out, so get that extra lap out. So that's an extra lap they're going to gain on this field here. But it's a dangerous game now, because now you have all these guys working together, and they're going to be, it's like racing Daytona in NASCAR. You don't want to go in with a small pack. You want to go out with a big pack in order to gain all that time back on the straightaways. It's one of those games where I can take my NASCAR experience and use it for this.
Here we go. Drivers out of the pit lane now. You hear, well, you see Copeland and Brooks work out first. Schwartz will follow. Pecorini, it looks like, is now off the racetrack. Problems for Pecorini. I think he's called it a day. There's Medina coming out along with Rayleigh. That's real close. Some cars going for the extra lap. And this puts Ulrich and Steinhoff out ahead by some large margin. They're not the only ones to go for an extra lap here. Samswood goes for an extra lap. Black goes for an extra lap. Browder and Braun all going for the extra lap. Question is, does this get them close enough to make it to the end? It's going to be a one-lap difference, but isn't this one-lap difference?
I personally don't think it's going to make it to the end. I mean, you still, I mean, well, I don't know.
They'll be right
That's
at
close.
32 minutes when they come back around. Maybe a little more, maybe a little less.
Maybe when they let the field catch back up to them, and they use the field as their advantage to save that fuel. I mean, they're going an extra lap, so we know that they saved a little bit more fuel than the guys who already pitted. But will that be enough in order to make it around the track an extra almost 2 laps I'm expecting for these guys compared than the guys who've already pitted?
So this is lap 7. If you look at it at that number, if we're expecting 16 laps, you got to make it 8 laps on field. These guys are on lap 7. They'd have to go around again. I don't think that's enough. I think they're going to be short. I'm not sure why they've gone for the extra lap, but I'm excited to find out. Because they're not alone. There are several drivers doing this. So I guess they're just trying to minimize the amount of time they spend on the pit lane, which isn't a bad strategy. But I can't think of another reason, so that has to be it.
Well, the strategy that we're thinking right now is actually going to make them stay in even longer for that fuel. I mean, a lot of the guys that came in, it depends on how much fuel they have. I really wish we had their fuel gauge right now, because I want to know how much fuel they have left in the tank compared to the guys who already pitted. Because the guys who pitted had an extra gallon. That's an extra, what, 5, maybe, about 3 seconds in the pits. That's a lot of time. That's a lot of time, Andrew.
Well, I would think you'll fill it up here regardless. You go for the short stop at the end of the race. So I would think you'd spend about the same amount of time on the pit lane no matter what. But if you can save a little bit of fuel, it means you don't have to fill up quite as much. We'll see. This race is an oddity for sure, but these guys should be pitting here. And yes, here they come.
Take it nice and easy. Definitely don't want to get any penalties right now. That would be horrible, especially on this track. It's once you lose that time, it's gone. I mean, it's super hard to gain it all back, and especially with either or of these drivers, they want to have their teammate there as a backing just in case. And we're gonna see where these guys come out, because as of right now, David Schwartz is coming through the middle of Porsche curbs on and off. We're going to try to see if he's going to have enough time, as we're seeing now another driver coming into the pits here. Bobby Flack, your other driver, that was stayed on an extra lap. We have another driver behind him, Jake Browder, trying to make it that extra lap. We'll see how long it takes for them to stay in the pits, as Mike Braun is coming in as well.
Mike Braun comes in, and this should leave Thorsten Ulrich and Yannick Steinhoff to exit the pit lane just about any time now. But they're going to get passed up by a lot. Brooks and Copeland under-fueled. They're going to get a short-term advantage, but I think they'll have to make some time up in the pit lane later. As Schwartz goes for a big move, and there's a quick blink from Yannick Steinhoff. None too pleased with that. Let's go look back at what just happened between those two drivers. We've already seen David Schwartz kind of muscle his way through these guys, and that splits these teammates up even more.
Yeah, very aggressive move there into one. I was amazed
On
he
board.
made that move.
From way back, sends it up the inside. Didn't quite make the corner. Oh, man. I think we've got not necessarily some tempers, but some feelings at the very least.
Yeah, that was super aggressive going. I like the aggression, but you know, I don't know. It's tough for these situations right now.
Watch it here, just got right up to him and sent it up the inside. Didn't quite make the corner. And Yannick was quick on the flash button to let him know he wasn't happy about that. I love this. We need more of this, as we've got a battle up here between teammates again, just different teammates this time. And this is now lap 8. So this lap will mark halfway. Everybody's going to have to stop again. I don't think you can make it even from that second lap. I think everybody's got to stop again.
I totally agree with you. I mean, this is something new to this league. I feel like seeing the two-stop strategy is something that maybe a lot of these drivers haven't fully practiced in their entire existence in this league, but it definitely brings a different level of racing here.
Edgar Ruiz sitting back in the 16th spot. He's one of our Division 1 drivers that has fallen down the wayside and down the order. Let's look through the field a little bit. There's Edgar Ruiz running 12th in class. Adam Brockway runs 13th in class, but 20th overall. Bobby Flack, another Division 1 driver, racing here with some Division 2 drivers. But of course, I saw the placement number there on the top right of the windshield and saw the 4. Anyways, 14th in class, and then Jake Browder, 15th in class, a little ways down the order. He is 30th overall. Mike Braun runs 32nd overall behind Jeff Fleischman, and Ignacio Casagnin there right behind, trying to overcome what happened on lap 1 in that penalty that followed. Eduardo Pecorini has come back, but is still in the pit lane, along with Robert Guadagnoli, who has been in for a minute and 10 seconds, must have been caught speeding on the pit lane, I believe. And then Scott Angelo back here at the very tail end of the field is 44th. And 1 lap down. Here's a look back to your leaders. Ken Copeland, Michael Brooks.
Fastest lap there. That's a statement. I mean, that's fast for these two cars working together. I like it. I like seeing these two work together.
And Yannick Steinhoff has hung with David Schwartz, staying just a couple of tenths behind him throughout the course of the lap here since that incident. And now Adam Brockway comes into pit. So a bit of a lap later, he actually, he's in an interesting spot. Since he pitted there on lap 1 to get his wing replaced, he may be able to do this from one stop here. He will. So this will be the second stop that he makes. He'll be good from here to the end. He's an underdog. I don't know where he's going to place. I don't know where he's going to end up cycling out to. but he's one to watch in the last few minutes, the last lap of this race, to see where he ends up coming out.
No, yeah, that's a super weird situation right now. I'm interested to see if he can make it to the end, but I don't feel like he's gonna have enough. I feel like he's gonna have a lap short or 2 laps short. But I totally
Certainly
agree
not
with you.
2 laps short. We've got 7 laps at the end. He just ran 7 laps.
Oh, maybe like just barely under a lap short then.
We'll see. Brockway making that pit stop, gets back out there. Craig Bray is now on the offensive, trying to pass Dean Kerr. Battle here for what will be 25th on the racetrack. And here's a 3 wide situation. Edgar Ruiz going by Samsoid and by Dominic Turcotte. That sorts out just in time for the second chicane. By the way, I called it out. I don't recall ever showing the pit times. We're going to do that now. Ken Copeland in the pit lane, 15.42 seconds in the box. Michael Brooks, 15.23. This is important because they took about an 8-second faster pit stop by short fuel to get out ahead of the race leaders. Thorsten Ulrich took about 23.8 seconds in the box. That's a difference of about 8 seconds, but he is only about 6 seconds back. So, if that time in the pit lane comes back to bite Copeland and Brooks, Ulrich could theoretically go back ahead because that was time they saved on this stop and the time they'll have to make up in fueling on the next stop. Ulrich may be close enough to leapfrog back ahead.
See, I'm interested because if Michael Brooks and Copeland work together in order to get themselves 8 seconds ahead of where Ulrich is right now, they may be able to gain back that time that they, or well, wow, that's kind of an interesting situation because if they can gain that 8 seconds like they want to, then they can rearrange that back into the race. It's kind of really weird phrasing there, but I feel like the pit strategy is a good one, but it's going to be difficult to get that 8-second gap. What they're going to need in order when they go back into the pits.
Interesting to see exactly what happens between those 2 drivers, or against those 3 drivers, between the 2 teammates and Ulrich in third. This is a look here at the entire field cycling past the front stretch. Let's take a look at those who help us here at Pit Stop TV and the North American Racing League. For the North American Racing League, it's of course Maradness, JS Consulting, and Screw Compressor Service Incorporated. Here at Pit Stop TV, we give a thank you to Whiplash Simcams, ATVO, CC's Business, Cody Williams Design, Lucky Performance, and the North American Racing League. What we haven't had yet today is a Lucky Performance Lucky Break of the Day. And I think, Mason, the driver that I can nominate to be the closest to a Lucky Performance Lucky Break of the Day is going to be Adam Brockway, if and only if that pit strategy works out for him. If he's good on fuel from here. It's an unlucky break in that he lost his wing and had to pit, but it's a lucky break in that it might help him get to the end on fuel.
I totally agree with you. I feel like that's one of the only candidates right now. I don't really have anybody else. I feel like you hit the nail on the head there. If it ends up working out for him, we'll be talking about that for the entire rest of the season. But he's got a lot of time that he needs to stay out there. And if he can save that fuel, then this will be a masterclass. Sadly, he got caught in that incident in the first lap. But it could end up helping him out, like how you said in the end of this race.
In the meantime, while that's been happening, Yannick Steinhoff, it seems, has dropped out of this race. And Mason, this is where you've got to keep me honest here on whether or not he actually falls out for Backett loss. But so far, it looks like he has. He is off timing and scoring down to 35th position and dropping like a rock. He actually just fell behind Brockway. So
Yes.
you're telling me he has dropped out for packet loss?
He has dropped out pack loss, so the teammates have switched that unfortunate circumstance here tonight.
Exactly. We talked about this last week at Miami, where Thorsten Ulrich dropped out due to packet loss after leading early. This week, it's Yannick Steinhoff, and this has implications because he's already missed one race. All right, and if you look at the point standings coming into tonight, he's missed one race, but he's nearly into that top 10. Give him an extra race or working the drop week, and he's going to be right with Bruce De Carvalho, Scott Reister, Ken Copeland, those guys. Maybe even ahead of them. But throw in this bad result, and he's going to be dropped right back down the order, even with the drop week. You only get one drop week. I think this has championship implications written all over it. I think he's a contender for the championship without this happening. With this happening, I don't think he can make up enough points. I think he's going to be a little bit too far back unless he can really do some good stuff and maybe win out the rest of the season. This is going to be huge for Yannick Steinhoff.
No, that's not what you wanted to see, especially tonight. And I totally agree with you. I mean, this is going to be super hard for him. You're so right. He needs to win every race now. And with how everything's been going on tonight, he's going to be losing a heap of points, especially to those top guys right now. And that's not what you want to see, especially tonight.
Well, his teammate continues on here. Thorsten Ulrich running in third place. He is now about 8 seconds back, nearly, of Ken Copeland. So it's working out for those teammates. They have drafted away from Thorsten Ulrich. David Schwartz is slowly closing in on Thorsten Ulrich. And I think that's Thorsten's best chance, is to draft with David and minimize the rest of his loss here.
I don't know. I like how these top two have been working together this entire time. I've been watching them as we've been talking about all the other drivers tonight, and they have been bumper to bumper this entire time. So, and I was talking about this earlier, they gained 8 seconds on them in the pits. They are now 8 seconds ahead of them. So they've already gained up that, or they've already extended that time that they've gained in the pits. And now if they pit early again, I feel like these two are very good competitors, especially for the win tonight.
It's something to watch for sure as we take a look here at Chris Winstone going by Andy Ray Miller and Samsoid. Samsoid is now to 17th overall. That Ferrari is anemic. It is dropping down the order quickly. And he is, again, down to 17th now overall, 11th in class. Division 2 is slowly working their way up ahead of several Division 1 drivers, those being Bobby Flack, Ignacio Castagnine, Jake Browder, Mike Braun, Adam Brockway, and Mark D. Reynolds. Boy, this is a wild race so far. This shows why every road league should go to Le Mans at least once. Try it out, see how it works out, and see the chaos that ensues in a good way. This has been great drama, the good kind of drama that is super interesting is one word. It's enthralling, maybe. Is that a way to describe it potentially? This is really good stuff.
I think this track always has championship implications. I think this is the one track that can cause a lot of mayhem. As we see the two leaders swap positions, I like this idea. Let Ken Copeland lead a couple laps and then swap out. Do what Thorsten and Yannick were doing, but do it where you have this gap and keep working together. Don't slow the others down. Keep it going, keep her smooth, and save that fuel, because maybe you can extend it a little bit longer than what we are expecting them to go out for.
And if you're wondering why it suddenly got so dark, well, the sun has gone behind some clouds back behind the speedway, and frankly, we're getting down to sunset as well, so it's just going to start looking dark. We might even have a bit of a night race here at the end. This is going to be an interesting little end to what has been an hour race. I didn't realize the start time was going to be this late. This is really impressing me. Somebody thought this out, and I didn't quite notice it. I'm enjoying this. This is going to be a little bit dark, but we're going to have a little bit of fun for sure. Also want to talk about Nathan Medina, who is sitting 6th overall right now, Mason. He is just behind Thomas Rayleigh and David Schwartz. And frankly, if Rayleigh can close in on Schwartz and bring Medina all along with him, Medina could be in the running to podium overall.
I like how they are right now. I mean, this is going to be a legacy drive for Division 2, especially for Nathan Medina. This is what he needs. Points, more points. I mean, he's only a couple of positions ahead of Jose De Leo, but no matter what, he's still having a great night tonight. All these Division 2 drivers that we've been talking about every week have been having these super impressive races, and this just shows how fast each division actually is and how respected they are in their driving craft.
Well, quite the interesting race that is being produced here as Rayleigh has caught Schwartz. It is going to be in that draft when they wrap back around at the Tetra Rouge. And Copeland and Brooks are in. There they are in the pit lane. They've had to pit earlier than the rest of the field. But this will get them to the end of the race. They're also taking tires. That's a bold strategy. They were lapping rather quickly. I don't think they needed to take tires.
I mean, it all depends on the fuel. How many? Oh, that's a very quick stop. It feels like for these GT3 cars. So maybe that's quick.
That puts them right behind Samsoid in 15th, now 16th and 17th overall for these two, for Brooks and Copeland. And this now makes Thorsten Ulrich the race leader for now, as Nicholas Salapudis is into the pit lane in his McLaren. Overshoots the box by just a bit. But look at how quick this stop was. 4 seconds.
Ooh. Wow.
That's all these guys need to go to the end. Just a little bit of fuel, a splash and dash.
Now, say this doesn't work out for our 2 leaders that we're leading. Could we possibly see a Nathan Medina win tonight?
Well, that would suddenly be a possibility. I don't know that Medina outduels Rayleigh, Schwartz, and Ulrich, but this could be the lead pack when it cycles out, depending on where Copeland and Brooks end up cycling.
That in-lap and out-lap are probably some of the most important laps that you can do around this track. If you're just a little bit too slow, you could lose a heap of time around this track.
Watching Ulrich, Schwartz, Rayleigh, and Medina. Medina's falling back. He's got to be up on the wheel right now. He has got to follow these guys to a T. He cannot lose this draft.
Yeah, he's got to start putting her in high gear, get up to the rear end there of Thomas Rayleigh, and then work together with him. I mean, I know you're super aggressive right now, but work together with him. Get yourself in the situation where you don't have to worry about where you're at. You can take it easy, get into the pit stop. Don't stress about that. Get back out and then go for the race win if it doesn't work out for the other 2 drivers that pitted earlier.
I think we've got Yannick Steinhoff in the YouTube chat saying his season is over with the DC. He needs to disconnect. And unfortunately, he might be right. It's going to be a very tall task for him to come back from that. The one drop at VIR was going to be okay. Missing that race, he was going to be all right. Now, I'm just not so sure. So the pain is felt up here in the booth, Yannick.
Yeah, I completely understand. I mean, that's probably one of the worst and most diminishing things as a driver is understanding that, oh, I'm so fast every week, but now I have to understand that because of internet problems, it's basically taking me out of the contention. But don't take yourself out, Unique. We could see a masterclass out of you, and you could gain a heap of points. So don't take yourself out of the situation yet. You've still got a lot of races here.
Deep in the field, a little bit of battling here between Bobby Flack and Ignacio Castignin, as well as Lucas Finko and Craig Bray. Finko, just missed the barrier there.
Very close.
Finko is second in the standings coming into tonight in Division 2. He runs 11th in class. He's made up some spots. He's now 22nd overall. So he's working on it, which is what you want to see. But this is a troublesome spot for a driver that has surprisingly moved up to second in Division 2 points. Consistency has been the name of the game for this driver from the wrong stuff. And I want to see more of it. He's just a little bit down the order tonight in a bit of an interesting spot. Chris Winstone into the pit lane. One of the other Ferraris in the racetrack. And Winstone will take quick service here. Let's see how quick this is.
I feel like this is going to be a splash and go.
It should be a splash and dash. 5, 6 seconds, 7, 8, 9, 10. He should be going any time. There it is. 12.5 seconds. As now Austin Tiller's into the box. How quick is it for Tiller? There's some longer stops. 10.7 seconds. So we really don't know what to expect out of Schwartz, Ulrich, and company. As Schwartz is taking the race lead back away.
I don't know. I like the situation that our two leaders were trying to figure out where they're actually at on the track right now, where they were at. Ken Copeland and Michael Brooks. I like the situation that they're in right now. If they keep doing what they're doing and they're working together, it's going to be super close to the end of these pit runs. But I don't know. I feel like David Schwartz, Thorsten Ulrich, Thomas Rayleigh, and Nathan Medina, they have to stay in there longer than maybe what we're going to see in Ken Copeland and them. So maybe that gap that Ken Copeland and Michael Brooks had, maybe that's going to play really big implications on who's going to win this race tonight.
Well, we are now up to lap 13. So this time by will be 3 laps to go. Or will it? This pace and the pit stop have put these guys at a slightly slower pace. We might see a 15-lap race instead of a 16-lap race. These guys lap about 4 minutes per lap. 3:57 actually was the last lap for David Schwartz, the race leader. 3 minute 57. So call it 8 minutes. These guys are about 2/3, 3/4 of the way around the racetrack right now, and they still have quite a ways to go. Mason, if they get to the flag stand with more than 8 minutes to go, it's a 3-lap race. If they get to the flag stand with fewer than 8 minutes, which I think is going to happen, it's a 2-lap race.
That's going to be super interesting, especially with this fuel strategy, because I think everything I've been saying now, if that is what happens, they really only need probably about what would you say, 9 to 10 seconds of fuel, maybe even less.
It's going to be a short stop when these guys pit. Question is, do they pit this time? And when do they get back to the stripe? It's going to be very, very close. 8 minutes and 10 seconds, and they are just about 15 seconds maybe away from the start-finish line. This is going to be a 2-lap race. And they're all coming in, except for Ulrich, who went the extra lap before. This is a 2-lap race from here.
This is interesting now on strategy. Oh, I don't know who to go for now. Oh my God, we haven't even talked about driver of the day yet.
Right. We should go ahead and do that. We've been wrapped up in fuel strategy. This is an opportunity for us to take a break while these guys pit. Let's see how long the stop is, and then we'll hit driver of the day. But Mason, be thinking about your nominations. Schwartz, 6, 7 seconds, 8 seconds, 8.8 seconds. There's Rayleigh exiting right next to him. This is going to get complicated up the straightaway into Dunlop.
Ooh, it's going to be close and tight.
Rayleigh gives it up. That's smart.
Yeah, I like that.
Medina with a 14-second stop. That's going to back him out of that lead battle. Looking at some of the other pit stops, 8 seconds seems to be the median. There's Ken Copeland and Michael Brooks. They are well ahead of those drivers that just pitted. So here's Brooks and Copeland. They're down the Mulsanne straight already. Schwartz is just out of Tetra Rouge. This is a huge, huge play from Ken Copeland and Michael Brooks. With that in mind, Mason, let's make those nominations for driver of the day and do this quick. Who is your first nomination for driver of the day?
Michael Brooks. I think he's needed to have a good night, especially since he hasn't really raced that much here with us. How many races has he done with us?
This is his second start of the season.
This is super impressive for your second start. So that's my Division 1 driver of the day.
I'll keep it in Division 1, and I'm going to nominate David Schwartz. He has brought the fight to each of these guys from Ride Sim Sport and the rest of the top of the field. Ken Copeland's got to win this season. I almost nominated him, but he's kind of been there, done that so far. So David Schwartz is my nomination for NARL Driver of the Day in Division 1. And Mason, that means we got to pick a couple of Division 2 drivers.
I'm going to let you go first because I chose first for Division 1.
Oh, that's not how this works, but I will make it easy then. Nathan Medina.
I knew you were going to that, but I already had a backup. I'm going to say Jose DeLeo. I think he's made that Mustang look super fast here tonight, and you know he's deserving of having one of these driver of the day nominations here tonight.
So we keep it easy here in Division 1 and Division 2, kind of picking the top of the field. It's just been one of those days we haven't seen crazy comebacks. Let's post that vote and get it rolling as Daniel Morad chimes in saying that David Schwartz is his driver of the day. So to recap, you've got a few options. You've got Michael Brooks. You've got David Schwartz. You've got Nathan Medina in the 6. And Jose DeLeo in the 36. As Miguel Colon has a bit of a stumble right there on screen. He's now going to go to the inside of Bruce de Carvalho and look at Arnage. It all gets sorted out. Well, those are your 4 options for driver of the day. Make your vote and make it quick. We still have some pit stops to make this time by for Thorsten Ulrich, and he actually has gone an extra lap. He thinks he's got enough fuel maybe to go to the end as he takes the white flag here at Le Mans. This is a huge statement. Actually, no, this is not the white flag. What?
It should be, shouldn't it?
The flag is not waving here at the flag stand. This should be white flag.
They're going to come back around with 0 minutes left if they didn't take the white flag.
I wonder, so what is it showing you in the sim? Is it showing you a flag status?
No, I'm looking for it. I don't see it.
This should be white flag. You could see the timer was below 4 minutes. It was below 3 minutes 57 seconds when Ulrich took the lap. This should be white flag. It may extend a lap, or, Mason, what will happen is the sim will catch up with itself right at the last second. It's going to be one of two things. Either we get an extra lap, or the sim is going to catch up and throw that white flag at the very last second. I don't know which. But with it being this close on time, it's going to be a big swing, and the difference, I think, will be made for Thorsten Ulrich. This is lap 7 of his run. He went, well, he's run 7 laps, I think. This is lap 8 of his run, because he ran 7 laps in the first stint. This is going to be close for him.
I'm telling you right now, he is having his fingers crossed, hoping that iRacing catches up with itself, because, I don't know, I feel like that should have been the white flag. There's no way they have enough time to make it back around the track again. But unless he puts a flyer of a lap out there, qualifying lap time.
Problems, Lucas Finko has just pitted an extra time. And he has come back down the pit lane. He is now 31st overall, 15th in class. Division 2, second place in points, dropping down the order quickly. Let's recap some of what's going on around the racetrack. Thorsten Ulrich leading, might be coming around to the white flag. Ken Copeland, Michael Brooks, they have saved fuel and taken short stops. and come out ahead of Samsoid and David Schwartz. Samsoid is also committed to the strategy. This tells me this should be the last lap. If Samsoid is committed to this should be the final lap. He has saved a ton of fuel. We wondered why he was dropping down the order. We found out why. If he's this committed, this has to be the final lap.
Yeah, I didn't even realize he was in 4th right now. That'd be a big statement if he was able to save that much fuel.
There's Samsoid, the lone entry from Apex Racing Team. Nathan Medina racing with Bruce De Carvalho. Carvalho goes up the inside. Miguel Colon shuts the door on Lucas Souza. Very close racing there at Mulsanne corner. And look at Jose De Leo. He has caught up. He's just behind Nathan Medina now. And De Leo is going for the pass on Souza. That would put him only 2 spots behind Medina. There is incredible racing happening right now, incredible storylines throughout the field. As there's Thorsten Ulrich. Mason, we're about to find out if this is a 1 or 2 lap race from here, or rather, if this is the checkered flag or not.
If this is not the checkered flag, I think we're going to see Jose De Leo and we're going to see Nathan Medina get oh so close to each other as they're battling hard. But I don't know. If it's not 1 to go, I mean, Thorsten Ulrich, I feel like, is going to have to pit here.
Let's see, he's committing. I think this is the checkered flag that we're coming up on.
I just got, it says race over now.
There it is, race over. This is it. Thorsten Ulrich will pull a fuel masterclass and the 1 stop out of his bag. He wins at Le Mans in the most confusing of circumstances with the fastest lap of the race, a 3:54.636. There's Ken Copeland. There's Michael Brooks. They come up just shy. They're going to parade around to the end of the race and have to settle for 2nd and 3rd with their masterclass 2-stop strategy. There they are, out of the Ford chicanes to the checkered flag. They will finish 2nd and 3rd. Samsoid will finish. Oh, David Schwartz, a big move at the final moment. Schwartz sends it on Samsoid and will take the spot away. Samsoid coasts across the line. Schwartz P4, Samsoid P6, Rayleigh in between. And there's Nathan Medina for the checkered flag in Division 2 by just about a second, if even that, over Jose De Leo.
If there was 1 more lap there, Jose De Leo would have been right there, but that's a great finish for this race that we're seeing tonight.
Incredible stuff. We await the rest of the field here at the start-finish line. But Thorsten Ulrich is today's race winner. Unbelievable stuff.
That was amazing. I loved it.
What an incredible but confusing finish there at the end. A few cars left to go. We've got a while to go, actually, a couple of minutes before the rest of the field finishes this race. Austin Tiller in a battle here with Craig Bray, 9th and 10th in class, 25th, 26th on the racetrack. Jeff Fleischman, Kevin Peak. Peak will get the spot. Fleischman gives it up at the last second. And one of the final battles on the racetrack, here it is. Chao Trin out of sequence in the Porsche curves. He's got a potential to go by Joshua Benjamin here. It's going to be these two, the final battle to the stripe. I think Trin gave too much time.
Yeah.
Oh, Trin coming up.
Oh.
Benjamin bungled in, and oh my gosh, a spin at the final corner. Oh man, who can get rolling first? Joshua Benjamin seems to have stalled the car. Battery's letting Trin go, and Trin says, "No, you go ahead. I spun you." So Benjamin takes the spot. That's good for 33rd on the racetrack. Chao Trin will finish 34th. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
And Mark D. Reynolds will be the final car to the stripe.
This was a crazy race tonight.
Yes, it was. Le Mans never disappoints. Just awaiting Mark D. Reynolds at the stripe to see this standings sheet finalize. But that was incredible. And David Schwartz is getting some votes here right at the last second for that move, I think. The driver of the day vote is very much alive. And it's very close between David Schwartz, Michael Brooks, and Jose DeLeo. But here we go, to the stripe. Mark D. Reynolds. Ooh, problems there for him.
Whoa, whoa.
But he'll skid across the curbing and take home 39th overall.
Finishing in style right there. That's what we call style points.
Maybe not the style points that he would have wanted today. He had
Probably not.
a bit of a stressful day for sure here at Le Mans. We'll go back and take a look at the unofficial race results and then finalize that driver of the day vote. Thorsten Ulrich with the race win. Very impressively done. He takes the win over Ken Copeland and Michael Brooks with their two-stop strategy that would have otherwise won the race. David Schwartz in 4th, Thomas Rayleigh in 5th, backs up his win at Miami a week ago. Sam Swid, a season best 6th place. Solid position there for him over Nathan Medina, who finishes 7th overall and takes home the Division 2 win. Miguel Colon, Bruce de Carvalho there in 8th and 9th. And Jose DeLeo comes home 10th with a first top 10 for him. 2nd place in Division 2. You see just how close it was between himself and Bruce de Carvalho. Less than a 10th separating those two cars at the stripe. And Miguel Colon recovers from a bad couple of races. Really just bad races in general. I recall bad situations for him at Algarve. I recall bad situations for him at Miami. Recovers from each of those races and finishes 8th here this evening at Le Mans.
Yeah, and just finishing outside of your top 10, you have 11th is Lucas Souza, 12th Ricardo Delgado, 13th Ismail Alahi. He probably would have wanted more, but a great finishing result for him tonight. Finishing in 14th, you have Dominic Turcotte. In 15th, you have Edgar Ruiz. In, if I'm not, 16th, Andy Ray Miller. 17th, Bobby Flack. 18th, Chris Winstone. 19th, Adam Brockway. And in 20th, Mitch Buenaventura.
Finishing 21st this evening, you'll find Jake Browder alongside Mike Braun there at 22nd. Christian Gritzko finishes 23rd. Ignacio Castagnin 24th. And then some of these guys in a couple of battles here at the end. Craig Bray and Austin Tiller, a couple of Mustang drivers there. Dean Kerr finishes 27th. Kevin Peake 28th. Then Jeff Fleischman and Nicholas Salapudis will finish 29th and 30th.
Yeah, and finishing 31st, you have Lucas Finko. Probably not the night he wanted, especially for point situation, but a very quiet night for him tonight. In 32nd, you have Jay Fuller. 33rd, Joshua Benjamin. In 34th, you have Chow Trin. 35th, Sean Patterson. 36th, you have Philip Baderka. And in 37th, you have Alex DeMarco. In 38th, you have Timothy Patterson. And in 39th, Mark B. Reynolds. And in 40th, you have Scott Angelo.
Finishing in the 41st spot, you'll find none other than Bob Guadagnoli. Just ahead of the 42nd position, Victor Aponte. I'm typing at the same time. Yannick Steinhoff finishes 43rd with a 6-lap deficit there. He should get credit for the race, but he won't get many points out of it. Eduardo Pecorini there in 44th, I believe, will not get credit for finishing this race, and Billy Bowerman will finish in 45th. Thorsten Ulrich is this evening's race winner. He wins this thing over a really healthy field of GT3 drivers, and that finalizes this evening's poll for driver of the day. David Schwartz, we won't be talking to him, but David Schwartz will be your NARL driver of the day today in car 100. Very much deserving, I feel like. Made that last second move on Sam Swed to get the spot and ends up finishing 4th this evening, so even better than the top 5, one spot better. That is a solid effort. You can see the difference in the final lap between himself and Sam Swed. He was catching up to that 7 car, made the pass at the last second, did it in style. Had a lot of fun, I think, breaking up those leaders earlier in the race. That said, Mason, let's get our drivers for interview. We'll begin this evening with Ken Copeland, who finishes 2nd in Division 1. And there's a bit of conversation we need to have here, Ken, because your strategy completely caught us off guard, taking less fuel at the first stop, a little more fuel at the second stop, but still drafting away from the field and coming out nearly on top. Did you expect, though, Thorsten to go for the one-stop?
Yes and no. Like, I knew there were going to be some folks that could go for the one-stop. I didn't know if those McLarens up front, like, I knew they were quick. They were quick all week in practice. I had no idea what their fuel rate was looking like. All I knew is 4 or so laps into it, I was talking to Mike going, we ain't going to make it. So we knew we were going to have to pit. My thought was if we had to pit twice, we could split it, take tires both times, and just work together, try to spread as much of a gap as possible. If the guys beat us on a one-stop, then they earned it. If they didn't, we'd profit, and it looks like we profited.
Profited for sure, and you back up a race win at VIR now with a solid second place here, some other solid results here across the board. You came into tonight, what, second or third in the standings? This is going to benefit you greatly. You might be the points leader. How does that change the preparation for Detroit?
Oh, nothing changes. I approach every week pretty much the same. My goal is to come out, have a good quality race. That doesn't necessarily always mean winning or even finishing on the podium, but that means putting in a decent quality time, sticking with the pack, not getting myself or others into trouble, and just trying to get a quality finish. So I'm going to keep doing that, and at the end of the season, we'll see where it gets me.
One more question for you here before we let you go. What do you make what was going on early in the race? We saw some flip-flops between the Ride Sim Sport drivers, Thorsten and Yannick. What was going on there from your point of view?
Oh, you're probably going to get me in trouble. But from the looks of it, I won't speak for them. I don't know. Both of them, for the record, are extremely talented, extremely quick drivers. They definitely know what they're doing. All I know is one of them did not finish the race, and one of them somehow stretched, I believe, that first tank 2 extra laps. If he did that on his own, that's amazing. If they work together as a team to kind of make that happen, I don't necessarily understand it, because if I'm not mistaken, I think Thorsten's further down in the points, but hey, that's definitely a strategy. It's something you can do in endurance racing, so more power to him. Congratulations on the win.
There you go, Ken Copeland, second place this evening for the wrong stuff. Congratulations, Ken. Good to talk to you, and best of luck in Detroit in a couple weeks.
Yeah, thanks, y'all. You have a wonderful evening.
There's Ken Copeland finishing up second place, and Mason will kick it on down to you with Nathan Medina, our Division 2 race winner.
Yeah, Nathan Medina finishing 7th overall here tonight, but finishing first for your division here tonight. Tell us how your race was tonight. I know we were watching you a lot tonight. Tell us how the strategy was tonight, the tires, the fuel, all that stuff here. We want to hear about it.
So in the Le Mans, this race here, I did mention a couple races ago that this was my strongest track and that I was looking forward to this race. I raced a lot of laps here, probably the most in the iRacing service in these GT3 cars for me. But going into this race, I was just focusing on, I knew I was very quick, especially for my division, and I was just trying to survive a lot of the aggressive D1 guys. I know some guys were going to try to make it a one-stopper. It was kind of in the fence of what you wanted to do. But it was just trying to survive and stick with the quick guys that are up here, and you have them just tow me along and get me away from trouble, give me a little bit of breathing room if I ever make a mistake. That I don't get past and just kind of ride it out. And I did make a mistake at the end of the race. I overfueled my car and almost gave up a couple positions to a guy that I was 2 seconds ahead because I just miscalculated at the end how much I needed, and I lost the guys in front of me. But overall, I'm pretty happy with it.
No, yeah, totally, and you're definitely showing your speed. But I want to know, how do you feel like the momentum is building for us this season, especially going into, in 2 weeks, Detroit? Like, what are your goals for that track?
I've never raced Detroit, so this is going to be a huge learning curve for me. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's a street circuit, and I think the only street circuit I've ever really raced was Long Beach. So, like, it's definitely going to be a new thing for me. I'm not strong in street circuits, and getting to this point and having this points lead in the season is a good confidence booster. It allows me to, afford either a bad race or just not so great finish. And so I'm hoping that with Daytona, Monza, pretty strong tracks for me, that Detroit ends up in a good finish, but I'm okay if I don't do so well there. It is definitely a tough track for me.
No, yeah, totally. I just want to say congratulations, especially on your top 10 finish tonight. Finishing first in your division tonight. We're hoping to talk to you in 2 weeks at Detroit.
Thank you.
And that is Nathan Medina after a solid Division 2 race win. We'll go down and get Ismail Elahi as Jose De Leo has not connected for an interview. We'll grab Ismail, who finishes third this evening. And Ismail, It was a challenging race for sure back there in the mid-pack. Tell us about it.
Yeah, it was definitely challenging. I think what made it worse was off the start I had rear damage. So from that point on, you're just kind of struggling. So I think I could have held on to P2, you know, without that damage. But going into turn 1, it's a sweeping right-hander, and the cars from the left side cut right over. And then I just got hit from behind into the car in front, and I had to go straight.
And you're in a challenging position trying to work your way back up the standings after a couple of bad races. How do you go into Detroit now, a street course in a couple of weeks, and try to make the most of it? It's a challenging place to go race, especially with a full field of GT3 cars. It's not going to be easy to get points, but how do you make the most of it?
Listen, I love Detroit. I think it's an amazing track. I've done it in the rain for 6 hours in a row, so I really know it. It's kind of engraved in my head. In general, I think we had the pace overall every single race to challenge, but just unfortunate events, you know, in Miami and VIR. So I think I just need to focus on getting these results, stop trying to be the hero, put my head down, and if I do that, consistency always pays off in NARL. That's a huge saying, and I think it's 100% true.
Well, congratulations regardless on a solid finish this evening, and hopefully we're talking to you again soon. And well, we'll see if maybe you get bumped up to that Division 1 here with your race results. You're getting close there. Is there any worry about that?
Yeah, I mean, you know, to be honest with you, to put it this way, listen, I watched the streams last year, and you didn't see a lot of D2, but I think this year you're seeing me, Nathan, battle it out in D2, and you're getting to see that on the screen. So you're really bringing in more D2 attention. So I personally wouldn't like to see that. I wouldn't like to see Nathan moved up either. You know, it's easy to say, oh, your championship rival, please remove him. But I think to keep the fight on the YouTube and to keep this, you know, kind of underdog story of a few drivers who are really outperforming their iRating, I think that would be incredible. And I think having that screen time for D2 drivers who aren't on the top of their game is perfect, and I think it would kind of spoil them.
There you go. Some strong feelings there from Ismail Elahi. I don't disagree with them one bit. Ismail, congratulations. Congratulations on a solid day, a solid season so far, and hopefully we're talking to you in Detroit in a couple weeks.
Thank you guys. Good night. This is amazing.
Ismail Elahi this evening with the third place effort in class. Started 15th overall, finishes 13th overall. Not too bad. It's positive, a couple of positions. That's always something you want here, Mason. A challenging race to grab a couple of spots. That's a good day.
Oh yeah, I mean, you can never take away from having I'm going to say a quiet night. I feel like Ismail Elahi had a quiet night, but a lot of these drivers up front, they were battling hard for those positions. I mean, Nathan Medina had to battle so hard with Bruce Carvalho there, and you know what? It led for some absolutely amazing action for us up here in the booth, and I'm super excited that I was able to watch this here tonight.
A fantastic race unfolded before our very eyes this evening at Circuit de la Sarthe. Going to be a lot of fun to move on from here, though, and go to Detroit in a couple of weeks. We keep talking about it, Detroit. It is going to be a challenging race for these guys. GT3 cars on that circuit never disappoint. Then it's out to Monza, Road Atlanta, and Daytona. Is there one particular track from here, Mason, that is a highlight to you? And why?
Why? Oh my. I'm going to say Atlanta, Road Atlanta. And for the reason that I think this is another one of those championship implication tracks. It's a very technical track, and one wrong move can lead to you going out into the grass. And when you're in the grass, you can't turn these cars at all. So a lot of those corners have concrete walls, and they can destroy a car. So I'm going to say Road Atlanta for me.
I think a highlight to me has to be the fine course at Monza. I'm blown away by the fact that that's on the schedule again. We've done it in Porsche Cup before. We're going to do it here in GT3 cars now with the car differences. That's going to be a wild race for sure, much like here at Le Mans, and a lot of challenges for sure along the way. Thanks for joining us this evening at Pit Stop TV. To recap, a big thank you to Muradness, JS Consulting, and Screw Compressor Service Incorporated. Muradness puts up a lot of the prizes each season. JS Consulting handles the back end, and Screw Compressor Service is a partner, a valued partner of the North American Racing League. We also want to thank Whiplash SimCams, ATVOs, CC's Business, Cody Williams Design, Lucky Performance and the North American Racing League. And I'm going to go back to that Lucky Performance, Lucky Break of the Day, and I'm going to say that Adam Brockway gets my Lucky Performance, Lucky Break of the Day, and could even be looked at for Driver of the Day if we were to redo this and redraw Driver of the Day, because, Mason, if you look at Adam Brockway's race, he started 13th. Initially, off the green flag in turn number 2 in Dunlop, he fell back all the way to 41st position. But because he was able to take fuel when he came back in for service to get that wing reattached, he was able to drive back to the field strongly, have enough fuel to make it to the end, and finish 19th. That's a Lucky Performance, Lucky Break of the Day to get that fuel stop done, and a recovery drive. We should have something for recovery drive of the day, because that fits it. That is a solid recovery there from Adam Brockway.
I definitely agree with you. I think we should do a recovery drive of the day. I personally feel like it's definitely lucky that he was able to drive that car away, especially with the hard hits that we saw going into Dunlop. I think if we reschedule this, I totally agree with you. I think he definitely deserved a driver of the day mention here tonight, because that was a very good recovery drive, and I'm going to fully say that we should most definitely get recovery driver of the day. I think we should institute that maybe.
We'll have to look at it for the future. It's one that has come up before. So anyway, moving on, we take a look at what's upcoming for us here at Pit Stop TV. And next up, we have the Major Series World 600 at Charlotte Motor Speedway, on the old Charlotte Motor Speedway at that. That's April the 6th, this Sunday. And then we have a little bit of time off before we come back on April the 17th with the North American Racing League at Detroit. And then we head out to Monza. And then we just keep on going with North American Racing League broadcasts. A light April here for us. Fewer broadcasts than normal, but it gives us a little more time to focus in on these racetracks like Detroit, like Monza, and get ready to have some fun.
No, yeah, totally. I'm super excited for these next couple of races. But if you want to be able to keep in tabs what we're doing, make sure you go follow our socials at www.pitstoptv.com, Facebook at pitstoptv, Instagram at pit_stop_tv, TikTok. We have that up there now. I noticed. Good on that, Andrew. TikTok at pitstoptv1, Twitch at pit_stop_tv, on Twitch, YouTube, pitstoptv1. And on X at pitstoptv_.
Well, thanks for joining us this evening. It's been a pleasure as always. It's always fun to bring you these North American Racing League broadcasts, but tonight was special for sure with Le Mans on tap, and it definitely, I think, showed why it should be on schedules to come. But that'll be it for us this evening from the virtual Le Mans. Thank you for joining us. It's been a pleasure, and we'll catch you in the next one.